Yeah, I think it worked. I could cross post.
Yeah, I think it worked.
Oh, echo.
I could cross post. Yeah, I think it worked.
Oh, echo.
I could cross.
Hi, dear friends. Worldwide, I can say by now. Thank you. Of recent also for the people who choose to follow me of recent and to subscribe to my channels. Welcome. And I know I have a lot of channels, but I am still grateful for that I have multiple channels, because then I know I also did that because I feel when it's spread and suppose that one channel would be closed down because of reasons or you never know, then I have them back up to my other channel sources. So this is why I spread in this way, of course, all over the platforms, which is good. I don't see any of the... Oh my gosh. So now I don't see any of the chat. Oh, I do see the chat. Welcome, everyone. I wish I could play the music, my beloved music Seize the Day, but I don't dare to because I then easily get copyrighted. So I don't want to take that chance. Welcome, everyone. And I will wait a bit for that I see some people in the chat. Hello, Ericot. Welcome. Yes, hello again. And now I hopefully also am live on Infodelen en videonieuws van Barry Henderson. En hartstikke bedankt voor de co-op, Barry, weer. En het kanaal waar ik ook voor the channel... Oh, now I speak Dutch. I was in Dutch live this morning, and I must say I am exhausted because of, I went live this morning. I talked already about the traumatic details of what I'm about to talk about in English. And this morning when I went live, then I had the problem that I had all thoughts in English, and then I had to translate them in Dutch. And now it's the other way around. So it's my tiredness, but I do want it to go live because I love going live. And I also feel the need to go live to share what of last 2 weeks, what I went through. Maybe this is also why I look tired. I might look tired. And I think it's so important that I share all the horrific traumas done to me. And I also, in this way, decided, and I will make that streamer gone, because now streaming, that is not accurate, of course. It's now streaming full English. Ta-da! Full English live stream now. Okay. I will also warn for the graphics. All right. So that's changed. Okay, now I can continue. So, I do as if I restarted the live stream. Hi everyone, dear friends from all over the world, and maybe also some of my Dutch and Belgian friends who were in my Dutch live stream this morning. I will go a bit to the back because I see the flickering light of the background. And I did close my curtains, but I hope now it's quiet and I will physically not move too much. So I decided to go live because I already had that wish for going live for such a long time. And every time I bump into or the horrific traumas again, which I dug up of reasons of which I will talk about today. And that is also why I in the title added graphic warning, because it's of high graphic content. A part of this decision to share this in this live stream is basically, next to that, and I already expressed that in many live streams, that I can be so frustrated about that nothing really is changing. I mean, what I see just around me and what I see just also in the mainstream media and in the independent media, there is a lot changing for the good. And of course, I have to think about mentioning also The Pulse from Pelle Naroth Taylor. And of course, the book Jane Hatch is working on. And I also feel a bit I neglect her because I am so exhausted of only the relivings, and I cannot deal with stories from other victims and other survivors. And I honor everyone who voices their truth and their horrific past and the courage of them all to express them in their way, in their unique way. So that being said, specifically last couple of weeks, I was next to basically again in the frustration of wanting to fly out into the world and meet my families. And I say families because it's not only from the families of my beloved man, and for more reasons than only that. I want to show my gratefulness for being saved because of him, and I still feel his spirit helping me free, and that he didn't deserve to be gone so soon, too soon in 2009. And also because if my biological heritage of being the daughter of a certain English queen, if that's being proven, I hope then to be able to make a change for the good in a peaceful way, in the way I think I also survived, and I wanted to survive, to help other victims, to inspire other victims, and maybe to be the voice for them, for the unknown voices of the horrific traumas behind the programming of mkultra. And this mkultra is so real that I even started to, in a deeper way, to feel that when I was in the relivings. And only yesterday I had the third layer of the horrific traumatic layer, which was embedded in the military childhood part in me. And I already knew her and I already integrated her. But now only she shows me as ego, as Elizabeth in the here and now, as personality, as the whole personality who started this journey for freedom innerly, that she showed me basic traumas. And I am exhausted of it. I still have amnesia, I still have, how you say that, insomnia. I almost wanted to say amnesia. That's totally something else. That's my tiredness. And besides my exhaustion physically is that I come from a past of which my basic split up was split up in a German, an American, an English, and a Dutch personality. 4 basic splits. Well, I told about that in many previous live streams extendedly, how that worked. And I try to re-upload these live streams, but I want to go through these live streams again because I have grown, I have changed, and I want to, just have a live stream re-uploaded which is worthwhile to view. And for example, not a live stream in which I had these mental blockages at the blackouts of which I could not recall the English words, and that's okay. But also many live streams of where trolls were visiting my live stream and insulting me. So I want to have as best as possible quality re-uploaded. So when I have energy enough, I will try to re-upload them as well. Well, that is a bit an introduction. Again, welcome you all, dear friends, and also to my new followers and subscribers. And it's I feel a bit like all these other YouTubers who ask for push that like button, but I will do it very quickly and ask for your support, and why I want to go for 1,000 subscribers. Because I want to have some special features which I then also can give you as supporters. I can then go privately live. I can do then more in privacy, with privacy settings, share more the graphic details of what I had to go through, and for a select group which I trust. And so that's basically, and of course I want to have my word out in the world and who I am. And I start also, because of these flashbacks and because physically I'm past the 55 plus years of age, that I start to realize that physical life and in the physical life is ending. You know, I always lived in the deprogramming with always so much the love of Michael in my heart, and more loving him, and more remembering him and honoring him. I will go live, by the way, with a special live stream soon with my life with Michael Jackson, and then I will disclose more details about the life with him. And of course, pure to honor him and what he did, but he still gives me the road to freedom. And I am beyond grateful for that. And I have no words for that. And I might lose subscribers or followers for proclaiming that without even physical proof. And this is me. I trust on my own truth, my own path of life, and that I am true. And I'm not perfect. I'm far from perfect. But in the live streams, I am truly who I say I am and who I am. And as far as my process goes, whenever I did a live stream and do a live stream, then it is the way it is at that moment and feels at that moment. And that I come from incredible heavy traumatic life, but that I have also maybe it's an extra dimension. I feel often it's in the way because I was with one of the most famous pop stars like Michael Jackson. And I was involved with many American presidents and other presidents, also presidents in the here and now I knew. I knew Donald. I will not say in what kind of way I knew him, but I knew him. I feel I need to say this, because if I let this be a threshold to never talk, then this kind of truth will never get out. And at least I have voiced my voice, my truth, and my history, my herstory. But I like the word history, my history, because what also was the crisis in the flashbacks of last week's was like, I am physically Elizabeth Wallace. I have my physical family is not here in the Netherlands. So when my life stops, and I hope I will be 100 plus years old, and of course I hope contact with my beloved family and my true identity being known, but as long as that is not the case, and I have to fight and I have to just trust on my truth, and I think that is what is my mission and what is my godly guidance, that I know that I truly speak from my heart and truth. And that it is when my life ends, and again, I hope to be 100 plus years old and very healthy, and specifically in the mind, very healthy and whole, but that I hope that my heritage is being in the world. And that's very important to me, apparently. And next to that, I hope to inspire every victim and every survivor who did not come that far as I am and has no shelter like I have with this dear friend here in the house. It's a very simple living, what I do for 25 plus years now. And I accepted that despite my crises, and I love luxurious things. And I miss them dearly. But apparently I am being guided by God, I believe, and angels who also saved me in the horrific traumas. Yeah, that I hope in this way with the live streaming that then also my heritage will be there for you to view and for everyone who might have a support from that. And maybe also for my children and grandchildren, that they will find out that I am their true mom biologically in the genes, and that they will find out and that they will get to know me in this way, and of course also for the world, that the world really gets that transparent leadership, and not one world government, but transparent, through co-op with countries, and all the identity of the countries being respected and whole, in a decent, righteous way, with their own religions, which is based on respect for each other and love and family values. And what family values doesn't matter if they're for the love and protection of children specifically. So I was not planning ranting like this again, but it is, I speak from the heart. This is why I love live streaming. I might make some slip-ups with my words, but I don't care, because I know I speak from the heart, and my true mission in life to voice this truth of the mind control and what the real traumas are. So also, I will also disclose in this live stream details, the horrific horror details of the basic programming of specifically two of my programmers, mainly of Joseph Mengele and of that other, which was a vice president in the US, and also a leader of also the army there, the US Army, to share the details, the gruesome details. So a disclaimer: please take care of you all who are vulnerable or very vulnerable for traumatic and description of horrific traumas. And that goes, I will now use a few terms which I will give attention to today, which is a very tough subject even for me. By the way, welcome everyone who greets in the chat room. Welcome Nobby. Also welcome on all the other platforms and channels. I will, in a short break, I will check the chat and greet you all there, but I have to focus on my words because it's a very heavy subject and intense subject for me too. So some keywords so that you still can decide to skip this live stream. And that is necrophilia. I hope I pronounce it well. Death, skinning, beheading, black ops, strangling, buried alive, walking with, I will now go into details of my flashbacks. Those were some details. So it started with what I shared in an earlier live stream when I had these Anubis, with the Anubis, god Anubis, which I now know that Anubis is not an evil demon, a depicted demon god. He is without judgment. He is without showing love. He is very strict, very, maybe I would say stoicins, is that the right word? Like judgmental, but judgmental in weighing the consciousness. And I talked about it already in my Anubis live stream. And when I re-upload this on my YouTube, then I will put a link towards that video about Anubis. But there I uncovered relivings of that I was it was actually buried, but I was put in the tomb of Gizeh. And this Gizeh pyramid Interesting that I hear of late also that underneath the pyramids are being shown giant of columns. And I already mentioned that in years ago in live streams that there is far more underneath the pyramids than is being said and shown. And that counts also for the sphinxes. Underneath a sphinx in Egypt, there lies a giant man, a woman, and a child buried. And they also did not disclose that yet, because the giants did exist on Earth, and that's just the truth. And there are many videos who try to claim that it's all fake. Yeah, I mean, I know it's true because I met a giant, at least one giant. And that's only one example, but I wanted to go into detail about these traumas of today, of what I wanted to talk about today. So I hope I can do my story, because this morning I did it in the Dutch language. But since I have now my time and my space here where I live until 6 o'clock for here in Amsterdam, PM 6 o'clock, then I feel like let's just go ahead with the details and that it needs to be told. And as I said, that I hope that or a future generation might believe survivors like me and truly believe the basic traumas which have been done to me, and not only me. I think I truly feel that I might be one of who did survive and can talk about these basic traumas, because I have an incredible willpower, and this is why I was chosen also for that, besides my 2 hidden bloodlines. Maybe that's why I have been chosen to be so horrifically being split up by 4 basic programmers, so that my basic core split was done in 4 parts. I did not until now meet someone who had the same core split like me, and well, I what I noticed as well especially when I have these flashbacks, that I cannot listen to other survivors and victims with their stories, and I humbly apologize for that. I cannot deal with that. And I support you in the energy. I send you love and everything, healing. But I cannot watch it or listen to that. For now, maybe there will be a time that I can. It's too much, and I don't want to be polluted with my details of the horrific traumas. So that's also part of my own protection system innerly. That my memories are coming from me, and that I will never use or reuse others' experiences, because I honor their experiences, and I feel that it's the most, for me, the most transparent, most transparent way of expressing by just keeping it what I can do by showing and telling about what I experienced. So to come back to this being for 24 hours put in that tomb, because I was introduced in that ritual of the Skull and Bone Society, and they hoped that I would be a member, a full member in full. That never worked, because Satan never could manage to marry me. That's a whole story. I did also a live stream on that. But that is a short summary. So I embraced actually Anubis, and actually I overcame even more fear of death and for the ending of my physical life, because I was of recent so fearful of that I would end lonely. I use humor here where I live in my residence here with my dear friend, like, yeah, I will be in a rocking chair and then be put in a retiring home, which is for me, if I will be put there, then I will end my life. I don't. I have all the. I mean, for everyone's unique decision is their own. But I will never ever want to be in such a place. And that's my past. But I was extremely fearful of I will end old and crooked and lonely, because in the Netherlands here I have, which is my dear friend, is my family, and another dear friend who knows me from 2000, but they're not my genetic family. And when I stop living, then my heritage stop living. So I repeat myself, but again, so that was also the crisis. But that was part of so looking for my own place to stay, to live, to have my own roof over my head. So my own, and I want to have my full own life. I want to have I want to work, if it's needed every day, doing a job, and then just I want to stand on my own financially for sure, but specifically have my own place. Well, and with the expensive society even more and more, and with buying food in the supermarket, the supermarket prices. I mean, in the Netherlands, I think Netherlands is one of the most expensive countries in Europe, with buying food just for daily life, and it is amazing how it's being accepted also. While I do feel that in the Netherlands and in Europe, it's I mean, what am I complaining, you know? So there I go again. So I feel also I should not complain about it, because I have everything what I need. So I have to say that as well. But I have in my crisis moments, because I have my family not here with me in the physical, that I bump into my cravings for a life and having my own dog, my cats, just my pets, you know, my own place, my own living room where I can live stream whenever I will. And I think that is very healthy to have these wishes. But that was part of the crisis. But again, that is the power of living 24 hours together with a family, a dear friend and a son, who is a grown up, by the way, so has also his own life. And that's also great, because I can then share what I went through, for example, with the flashbacks, and that is incredible, worthful for me. But yeah, that all was part to the stack of the pile of my crisis of last week's, and then suddenly I was in a flashback of, and then this is the gruesome details, that my basic programming by Joseph Mengele and this former vice president of the US, and he was so cruel. They both were so cruel in the basic programming of me. And for example, the one programmer who I called White Rabbit, who was that vice president for a couple of presidents in the US, I was with him, for example, in his military base underground, and he had a villa, he had a whole house underneath in the underground base, and everything was circular built, so with heavy, thick concrete walls, and all in circular, very interesting. All his living places and rooms were, even a bathroom, which he had all for his own. And he had also a souvenir room and a room in which he also programmed me and traumatized me. That was a bit smaller, circular room. The basic door, the front door to this room in that underground base was of a thickness with steel and yes, concrete and steel. That's what I remember. And inside, in that living place, besides that I could see that they were concrete walls and no windows, it was further on, luxurious. But the souvenir room was filled with souvenirs from Joseph Mengele, his dear friend, and also with souvenirs like things which were made from, and here it goes with the details, the horrific details of human skin. And I also was allowed in that room with the souvenirs, and I wish I wasn't, but I viewed all these horrific things, like book covers, which were of human leather, and all, yeah, I could say more about that, but the basic trauma was also that from when I was already very little, then you have to think 3-4 years old, that I was undressed, and that I was lying on the floor, and the majority of times, because I was so exhausted of being forced to watch, that he covered me with rats, and he surrounded me with rats and corpses of rats, and these rats were beheaded in front of my eyes and skinned in front of my eyes. And sometimes there was, for example, a child of my age being brought in, and the child was blindfolded and being tranquilized by some herbs or put in trance. And then the child would then bite into the head of a rat. And these kind of things I was forced to watch. I was forced also by these programs, and later on by also in my front life, the granddad, being forced to skin myself. And here it comes. I was forced to skin people. And not only dead bodies, but also alive bodies. And that is the crooked, beyond bestial ways of how they program. And I sometimes bump into stories like, they replaced it with dolls. No, because I, in the flashbacks, remember the smells of the rotting flesh. I know the textures. I have one example, the Dutch front mother doesn't live any longer, but I showed her one of the drawings, and I described also someone who knows how people die, and when they are corpses. And I sketched exactly the colors of the skin when people were deceased. Exactly. And that was all, for me, an acknowledgement at the time. And also the front mother, who I showed one of the drawings and described someone who was present at when I was forced to do that in front of corpses and so on. And I had to do far more with corpses. I also had to do necrophilia, which I know is an incredible heavy subject even for survivors to talk about. This is beyond anything. How I could vividly describe how a corpse, how these people have a lust for seeing small children, and in case of myself, to see these children like me doing it with corpses. And I already knew about that. I was forced to do that, like skinning people. And part of skinning people was that I was brought into giant, how you say that? Giant freezers, like from in the industry, like flesh industry, like slaughters, who were in it. And then in their ice room, there were not only the pigs hanging in the cool freeze spaces. Why don't I know the word now? I hate that when I lose the word for it. And that I had to wander through these, what you actually see in some television series about homicides and so on. There are many titles who depict this, and even in later years, even more and more. But I, as a small child, already had to wander through these corpses. So I lived horror movies in real life, and almost on daily basis. And this is also what maybe is hard to believe. But I was in the daytime, because of the split upness, my energy was being balanced in the front life, as the Dutch Monique, as I was called at that time. But in the nighttime, I was transported through the tunnels very quickly, easily to other countries. And there I was used and used for this and reprogrammed, because the traumas need to be repeated. And that is very, very important. The traumas need to be repeated. If the traumas stop fully, then the real recovery of the relivings and the really recovery of the traumas can even heal and happen. And if and this is so sad, because there are a lot of people who already remember and still are being used. And that is a sad thing, which I will never interfere. I will never judge about that. Because look at me, I feel I'm whole, I don't lose time, and I am not being used. I know that because I have a full consciousness of my timeline in life. So, and I'm still digging up new memories, or at least new details of the memories of the horrors I already knew, like the necrophilia and the skinning people. And yeah, so one of these traumas of last week, because otherwise this live stream will be too long. And again, welcome everyone. I know this is a heavy live stream, and I know it's a heavy subject, but I felt like, and now I'm going to do it. And now I'm going to talk about these horrific things. I need to talk about it, and then it's at least spoken out in detail that these horrors exist. And I know many also of the people who view now, and many who view afterwards, that they know that they experienced the same like I was forced to. And this is being done by also world leaders of all levels of society. I bumped into, thank you for the post, by the way, on my Telegram about this Dutroux. And Dutroux was only a part of the whole network. It's good that it's there, because there is proof about that there are networks. But it is far more extended. Dutroux was also part of the giant network. And I know that, I happen to know that. But yeah, that's a knowing. Do I have proof who I say I am? No. And that is where I stumble over every time. But again and again, I feel like, well, what the heck? I'm now so far in deprogramming. I have only one way going forward, in God and with the love of Michael in my heart and the truth about our relationship for so long. And I just go on and talk about what I experienced, and maybe that is my mission, just talking about it. And then I don't know how my end will go. Yeah, I don't know, of course. Again, I hope to become 100+ years old in health and a bit of nice life, you know. But I mean, then my own place, and with and in love. But yeah, it is so important for me that I do talk about it. And now I am also talking about these graphic details. I still feel like, should I do it? Because there is a little voice inside of me, even a part of me who says, quit this live stream because no one is waiting for these details. And another part in me is afraid of, now I will lose subscribers and followers. And I already hardly am growing. And what's the purpose of this? And I all the time have to manage innerly about talking about it. And I have my physical reactions while I talk about it. I am cold, what you also hardly ever see when I speak about details like this, that I am trembling. And now, for now, I am pretty quiet, so pretty at ease. And but again, the situation of in which I choose to live, because it's all my own choice, and I live just in a so-called normal average household, because I am tired of it. I still get sometimes messages, not from you, dear friends, but just out of the blue, like, Oh yeah, you're not doing this from a house. You're in an institute, and I no. This is just a simple residence, and my neighborhood nears, besides some exception, only two who know about me and what I'm doing. Only two, and the rest also I do. I love dog and cat sitting jobs, and to help people out with for a couple of weeks staying in their house, and then I have in exchange for that then have a place where I can stay in my own space and taking care of the dog and the cats, and I love it. They also don't know that I'm a former mkultra. But part of the crisis and why these flashbacks happened was that I bumped into the endlessness of life, of a physical body. And I am healthy, thank God, thank the Lord. I am healthy. I'm really grateful for that. And I can, because of what I do with dog and cat sitting, now take care of finally my crooked and very painful teeth, which I did talk about it in some live streams, but I had incredible problems with my teeth. And now I can take care of them because I like to take care of myself. But because earth life is passing, and before I know it, I'm still deprogramming, sitting in this house, and then I'm sitting in a rocking chair at old age. And where's family? Where is my heritage? Where can I leave my sketches? Where can I leave all my pictures which I retrieved? That is a huge longing. And I talked about it already in an earlier live stream, but it is a deep, deep longing. So, but it all took part of that part in me broke down after also that Anubis, and the first horrific memories with that, and that's again graphic warning, was that I suddenly I talked about in the earlier live stream that I was almost fainted in the bathroom, and I had not my mobile phone with me, and then I felt like now I'm really confronted with that. I have only my dear friend, and now I have two friends. I know I can call other friends, but from the first instance call them, and that they then know, hey, there's something going on if I call. And then I felt like I don't have my mobile phone to call someone. And I'm lying here. And what if I faint or worse? Who is there for me? That was very scary. That was very confronting. But that was part of that. In the last 2 weeks, even more flashbacks came forward. And that was that I was forced in a military when I was very little. I was the first memories were when I was 6 years old. And many of you know that I also had the military training, and that I had to do a lot of military courses as a small child already, and then crawl through the underneath fences and crawling through very cramped spaces like pipes and caves and dark stuff, and underneath nets, and what you can see in the military parkour. I hope I say it well, in a survival track. And then suddenly I was in a flashback and I was trembling. And with flashbacks, I'm physically trembling, icy cold, and then I feel like I am out of my body. But somehow I can retrieve contact with the grounding because I know I'm here in the house, which is a safe haven for me. And then I had these flashes very vividly of that I was forced to crawl underneath a net of a military parkour, and then I had to hold in my arm a beheaded head from a person who was in front of my eyes beheaded. And I still recall that it was a middle-aged man, a bit chubby. I don't know who it was. It was also not a famous person, but that doesn't matter. Every human life counts, which is ended in a horrific way. And this, I had to crawl, a 6-year-old, with this head underneath my arm. And that head was of middle age, and was bald, and I still recall and re-feel the little furry white fluffy hair which still was left of the head. And I can still feel the skin, the wrinkles, holding that head. And I was not allowed to lose that head. I had to crawl that military parkour with that head without losing the head. And to come back to that same example of having lying down with rats and beheaded mice and heads and these traumas that often, of course, because of the fear and the traumas, my body responded in releasing urine and feces. And if that happened, then I got punished even more. And then I had to redo the parkour from start. And so what you see in these military exercises, I love watching them still, by the way, sometimes. I have a love for military life. And I know now why I always had that. I know now why I can vividly recall how it is to have a rifle in my hand. I still have the mechanic in my hands. I can still do the gestures if needed. And that's a kind of the discipline of the military life I love. I like military people. I honor them when they protect. I'm a bit mixed in that because I don't like violence. But as long as this earth is not safe for all children and all people who undergo these violence with also weapons, I feel we have the right to defend ourselves. So, but I'm also very mixed about it. Because I know that also the shootings are real, like in the USA. Although a lot of these times, I know and feel that they are triggered mkultras who are being triggered and traumatized themselves, and then a programming is being called up to sadly enough kill. And I was also in the deep state underground cities, where these events were exercised, and the horrific screams of people, even when they were actors, and people who lived there in the underground cities, and the people without a roof over their heads, so the homeless people were taken. This is, by the way, why I also support, for example, Dana Durnford, who still is, I think it's so brave. He still does his live streams. How he does it, I think it's also guided by God, or, I mean, why would someone being shadow banned or being I mean, it is so important that people can voice what their knowledge, their investigations about how important it is to stand for your truth. And when that's a whole other subject about nuclear energy, of which many people say that it's fake. Why then, if it's fake, why in history and there are images of it, why are many people still getting sick of these so-called accidents? And I know I never also talked about that, but I have seen in experiments, and I was in a safe distance. Fortunately, I was not physically present, but I was present with experiments, and I was fortunately physically not harmed. But I've seen pigs being experimented on radiation, and I know it's real. Nuclear energy is a danger. Nuclear energy does exist. And I still am figuring out what is the truth, but that is, I think, the power of freedom of speech. Allow everyone to speak what he wants to speak, if it's in respect. So tell your truth. And, to come back to that flashback with that beheaded head. Hi, Joke, welcome, good afternoon, welcome back. Nobby says, rights to bear arms has been taken off us by their empire. Well, this is part of the plan for also what was already for America, for worldwide. This is why they want a worldwide leader, which I always said, like, there was a plan for 2025 that there would be a female world leader, but everything already went another course. So I already am convinced that it's not in this extremity any longer. But I warned about that already in a couple of live streams of what this world was heading for. But now I truly believe that we can win and overcome the violence, the extreme violence and the evilness. And this is why I tell my story, because it's so needed that these graphic content can be expressed in a way that I hope it's being accepted finally for more people, for that it is a truth, which is, because of people cannot hear it, and I speak of the majority of people, not you dear people who know me, who listen to it, at least in respect and without judgment. And you still don't have to believe me, but many people, really many people, still don't believe it, don't get it, cannot even listen to the details. But I lately was also talking about two dear friends of mine who know the most of the details. Like, there are more and more television series, even for children, where the most horrific things are being shown. There is there are several television series who have now a second run with new actors and so on. And there is just being done cannibalism in a television series, which was, replacement for Love Island. I seem to... that was a television series in the 90s, which I loved. But it was about an island where everyone went, and then everyone was confronted with their theme and then came happy back together. It's a bit a kind of love boat series, but then on an island. And I forgot the word. But I watched that episode, and then I stopped watching it because it triggered me. And it was awful to see cannibalism. And I had to witness that also, not one time. I can truly say it was at least thousands of times that I saw a human body being buried, but not buried, but burned alive, and bonded like a pig, and put above a fire, which was also on Bohemian Grove, by the way. And I watched that, and it is a truth. And Joke says, could you be that world leader, Elizabeth? What a beautiful world it would be. Well, not that world leader I was talking about, because that is a Luciferian. And I've seen it that it was, at that time, was planned for, that it was a darker skinned woman. So, and I am, not that it matters, because it's pure where you were born, and it is the skin. It's pure protection for the sun. And by the way, I love dark-skinned people as well, because my love of my life is from Native American heritage. So, and I don't know how to call it in a respectful way for everyone. But could I be that world leader? Well, I said it in previous live stream, that I even was thinking, did I mention that I was thinking about setting up my own partij here in the Netherlands, so that I would, it's not that much of money. You can just, how you say that? Here in the Netherlands, we have a government, and then you can have a party, not a party, not a celebration, but you can have, how you say that, a partij in English, a delegation, and then I can be the leader of a delegation. And I was serious. I even talked about it with other friends, and they said, yeah, you got your first members. That I honestly was thinking about, I will set up a partij, how you say that? What's the word for partij? A government. Oh man. Well, a part of the second chamber here, or the first chamber here in the Netherlands, to be part of the government, and in this way, that's my passion for finally get that change. For transparency, and I know how that world is. I know how these people are, so they will not be able to fool me. I know them, Many of them I knew personally when they were younger, so I know them. And not to blackmail them or something, not at all. And I'm laughing, but I was serious. I was serious a couple of weeks ago about doing that. But yeah, the Elizabethan group. Yeah, well, I already had a name in Dutch for that party. It's like partij van de yeah van de no I forgot, but it was for transparency or something, and then in Dutch. But yeah, Joke says I would vote for you. Yeah, and I'm laughing, but I'm serious. I'm serious, but yeah, I'm looking for. I feel it's part of my way of living. Like I live in the here and now, but dealing with traumas. And at the same time, when I have these traumas and flashbacks coming up, like of recent, that I was forced to keep a beheaded head in my arms. And that I also feel the passion at the same time for no one will ever destroy me. I will only get stronger. And if I wish something would materialize of which path I will be heading for, and that is for me not yet clear. But I honestly, if something would be put on my path by God and by my mission in life, by my life's path of setting up a party for to get in the government of the Netherlands, I will do that. Clear. I mean, I'm a free woman, so yeah, so that's it. So you can extend a reply to your remark, and yeah, it's of course a bit the lightheartedness in between all this heavy stuff, and I know it's graphic, and it's not my intention to keep it like that, these live streams. It's at the same time my way of finding out. Yeah, I hope if I can only help one person, one victim, one survivor in going ahead with remembering, and that you can survive extreme traumas like I had to endure. By the way, part of this that I had to crawl with that beheaded head in as a 6-year-old, then also other traumas, and like a ribbon resurface. And it is like that I then relive at the same time and get even stronger proven from myself how true my past was, like with Joseph Mengele, Dr. Green. And in that special school, he educated me, as he always called it. Like one, also now I come again back into these graphic details, that I was so confronted with death that next to that it pulled up memories with, I sketched a drawing about it, but it's too graphic to even post and to show. But that I was in a classroom with other children, and I was only 6 years old, 5, 6 years old. And there were other children of that same age, and there were also boys, and they were nude. And I was sitting behind a Singer sewing machine, and the brand name Singer is literally translated from English to Dutch, could be a singer, like singing. So an artist, vocal artistry, which I always loved music and pop music specifically, and the music of Michael, for example. I was in love with his song Ben, which was about his rat, and that was with memories with Michael Jackson when he was younger, when I was in his bedroom, and he had there the cage with the rat and his tame rat, and then the room with the wallpaper and his bed. He lived actually pretty simple in his bedroom, and then he had all these pop posters of his other favorite artists. But next to that, it called up as well that it was traumatized. So the programmers never wanted me to recall my life with Michael and that I would live with him. Well, they pretty much succeeded in that, I must say, because they destroyed Michael. I truly feel that Michael's death is connected to that and that he's still being targeted, not only because of me, but part of that he wanted to help me free, deprogram. And I know, I also said it this morning in the live stream, it is ridiculous maybe what I tell you, but if maybe in all, even the people who also watch my other live streams, maybe it is possible because of if you combine all the jigsaw puzzle pieces of what I am, of what I experienced, then you might even understand that it is true, that I was, his secret love. And it was a complicated life, I know, because I had personalities. So, and he had a hard time to cope in that world. So, I know that sounds then even more unbelievable. I know what is being portrayed in the real world with also his, partners, or how you say that, it's so complex, but I know it's the truth, and I will love him forever, and I know he knows that, so that is where I hold on to. But to come back to that the sewing machine singer, that I was forced to sit there, a 6-year-old, because Joseph Mengele wanted me to in the programming, and that I was sitting behind that sewing machine, and that these little boys with their little thingy below, I cannot produce the name of it because it's still too horrific, and that they were forced to lay it down on the sewing machine, and I had to sew through their thingy. And not one boy, no, several boys, one after the other, one after the other. I was also, and that was also organized by as well Joseph Mengele as by White Rabbit, that other programmer, that I was in a military base where thousands of cages with children were put in. And that is real, dear people. It is real, thousands of cages. And these cages had a mechanism which were also in prisons, like you can open up at the same time all the cages or separately. And the majority of these cages could be with electricity, that these children were traumatized with electroshocks. It is horrific what I've seen. And that in these hangar, which was the place where originally where the planes were put and being fixed and stored and so on, and that was a military base with 1,000 cages, and there was a stack with a pointy, very pointy, vertically, and one after the other child was put on top of that vertically being stabbed, and one after the other, one after the other, one after the other. And I had to watch. And this was to enforce my programming. And again, I know it sounds like I even did not see it in a horror movie, this variant of trauma. This is what I experienced, and this is what I relived again in the last couple of weeks. And by the way, all these boys also with a singer sewing machine, this is why I made that link to, for example, Michael Jackson, because he is a singer. So it was to create an amnesia wall in my brain parts, in my personality parts, that I would never recall the life with him. But the other part of it is that the programmers hoped that I also would never let in Michael in my heart fully, only in personalities. So he met the red-haired, the ginger-haired personality in me, the Rita in me, which was a beloved movie of me. Do you know Rita Hayworth? I love that actress. I love these movies. it also was an amnesia wall to put in between the meetings with what, I mean, I know it sounds ridiculous, like Fred Astaire. I know, maybe I see now the subscribers drop. I don't care. And this is why I always say to people, even friends who say, wouldn't you want another life? And then I say always no. Because I would have never met people like Horowitz. I would never have people like Nureyev. I would never have met people like Fred Astaire or Michael Jackson. And this is so close to me, like too close to my heart. But again, I feel, and then I get emotional next to that. I, of course, mention details of the graphic stuff. Is this my life now? That I now do all these years deprogramming in a very safe haven with dearest people who have become my family. And I'm being taken care of, but is this my life now to remember, but that my truth is not into the world as a fully truth for the world. Somehow it is so important for me that that is being seen and being shown. And this is why, and I disclosed it also in the Dutch live stream, I, for the second time, and the first time I did it years ago, I now for the second time messaged TMZ, yes, the mainstream gossip site, the gossip site of the USA. I know it, mainstream media, I know it with all the gossip, which and also the putting celebrities on a pedestal and gossip and so on. But I messaged them. I have a screenshot of it to prove. I did not hear anything. I even gave them my telephone number. And I mean, okay, then I felt like, okay, I did at least a physical move. And I only did that to at least get proven who I am. To get proven that I had my secret relationship with Michael. With all the integrity, by the way, for the children. Because I waited for so long to disclose who I am. Also because I wanted to protect Michael's children. Because they were too young. And everything is dear to me, also his family. But now I am 55 plus years old. I am now again recovering from flashbacks, and I'm so passionate about doing something for the world, for all the people, for all beings, for the children. I will do anything to get the truth out. And I, by the way, on to TMZ, I messaged them. Okay, then I challenge you, and then I ask you to prove that I am not who I say I am. Prove that I am not, that I was never the secret lover of Michael Jackson. Prove that. So, I mean, and if they can prove that what I say is not true, then I will withdraw, and then I will apologize also to the Jackson family. But I know it's the truth, but I mean, that far I go. So now I disclose that too. So, yeah, I don't know. I pray to God, let me reveal something for disclose who I am. And if not, then I withdraw myself. But then is everything a lie? Because then all my live streams are a lie. And then I am also a lie. And that is for me so even unspeakable to even speak that out. That is for me unimaginably, then if that is not true, then everything is not true. So what will happen then? I don't know. I know it's true. But you see, it's nice to see how I process things. And how I do that from within. I always am very much aware of what I say. I am very much aware of what I say. And it doesn't seem like that maybe at times, but I do. One Big Pond. Wow, what a beautiful name. Welcome here on YouTube. Wow, Elizabeth Wallace, love the change of light shared. It's brightened the world around you. Oh, thank you so much. Thank you. And I hope to inspire, even if it's one person on this beautiful world, which also can be so beautiful. And again, I am aware of I can look very chaotic in my live streams, but again, I know what I'm saying and it comes from the heart. So how can, when I say things from the heart, of which for 25 plus years I choose a very, 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 very modest life, beyond the modest life, voluntarily inside mainly a residence, besides last couple of years that I go out for dog and cat sitting. How can I do it otherwise? How can I live a lie by doing this? That's impossible. If you can prove that, then I don't know any longer. But to come back to these graphic details, because yesterday it was for me even on top of the flashbacks I already was going through last couple of weeks. That was only yesterday, because otherwise I might make this live stream far too long. I apologize for doing such lengthy live streams, and I love doing lives. I wish I could go back to the Saturday evening at least a couple of times in a month. And yeah, I'm searching for in my neighborhood somewhere a place where I can live stream without that I take off space from my other two people here who live also in this house. And that was by that I here in the places I live, there was the majority a front and a back garden, and that is here as well. And this front and back garden have tiles, and in these tiles there can grow weed. There can grow grass and so on. And if you let that untreated, then it becomes a wild thing. You know, like all these, then the tiles are overgrown with moss and so on. So I try to be of help here in the household with doing some chores weekly. But part of it is that I try to keep up with the garden, front and back. And a part of it is that also then I also often in a while go through the garden and then take off plants which become too wild. But for many years, and my dear friend knows that, and sometimes it's very frustrating for her, but we try to do it with humor, but I forget the names of trees and plants. And I never exactly knew why. Why while in a walk, I sometimes remember names of a tree, and then other times I don't know, like a willow tree, which is one of my favorite trees, specifically the willow trees above these water places and ponds and rivers. And then I forgot that then I forget the name. And this is part of what I now recalled of only yesterday, because yesterday I felt like, okay, now I'm going to help and again fix the front and the back garden, the tiles, so get rid of the grass and so on. And I make use of a shovel then to get the stuff between the tiles and to help clean it. But then I felt so awful and a physical resistance, and I got nauseated. And I felt, what's happening here? And I felt going out of my body. And then I felt like there's only one thing I can do. I swiped up a bit the dirt that my dear friend would not trap into it, and my other member here, and that I would put it on a pile. And then I went inside, and then as I always do, then I ask inside, and I go sit on a spot somewhere in the house where I feel I can make contact with this trauma. Sometimes I sketch or write it down or record it. I have many home recordings with the flashbacks. This is a sidetrack, but this is also part of I is all that material what I have now, all these recordings of my flashbacks, all my notebooks, drawings of the horrific traumas. Is this going to be? Is this end up in a pile? Because when my life ends, where can I give it to? To whom can I give it to? As to help other beings, help other people. I don't want to. My history should not stop. It is a deep pain in me, an incredible pain in me. And I know it's used in the programming that they told me, you will never be seen. You will always be the shadow queen. You will always be the shadow lover of Michael Jackson. You will never be the upper stage queen. No, you'll be the shadow queen. I was the shadow queen in the shadow life. I was put on a lot of theaters as well, and I did my performances. It's really true. And but to come back to the trauma here, so I was inside fixing the grass and so on, and then I was sitting inside making contact with what is this trauma. And besides that, I was feeling like, oh, I really am now jumping out of my body, and oh my God, dear God, I was praying to God, and I also asked Michael's spirit, his beautiful angelic being, which I always feel, more and more. I cannot even say more than more, because that was also part of our love. He included that in his songs a lot. Love you more. The keyword more, I love you more, that's also one of the secrets which were put in his songs, to that we signal each other that we loved each other. What more can we give, and that was also for the world, mentioned for the world, and to heal the world and to free all the children. Now I again wander off, sorry, I apologize. And that I was making contact, and then suddenly I was so, and I am very honest, I even had to vomit to release, because I just had my lunch as well, and then I went outside to clean the tiles. And that was what I already knew variations, but that is, and I will show you also the image that was in the front life, in my Dutch front life, and I was abused by the dad, and this I have it here prepared for you. I will show it now. And I was in the front life, and this is the garage, and I decided to disclose this picture because here you see the front dad, the Dutch front dad, which was not my real dad, and you don't see his identity. So I feel now, and he also does not live any longer in the physical body. So I feel free enough and safe enough, and with my consciousness also okay to show it. This was how we went inside to make and repair the cars, and also to give cars new paint. Was a lot of abuse also in that space behind that garage. But there you see a part underneath of the tiles. Yeah, it's now snow on top of it. But you see here the drying stuff where clothes were hanging and so on. And then here, and then to the right, which you don't see on the picture, but there was maybe I can show it. No, it's not on the picture. But there you can, there was then the dog kennel with the dog who was always put in the cage, which I hated it. I hated it that he was put on a chain. Me as dog lover, as loving dogs and cats, it was awful for me to see that the dog was locked up in a cage and on a chain. And it was also to traumatize me. Later on, I understand, but underneath the tiles, which you see underneath the snow somewhere there, that was the flashback, that a fetus of my own has been buried. And I knew already that I had babies of also this man there. and they were all killed or born dead or r- premature. And that was my trauma behind that. I was so hesitant to clean up the tiles always. And now I also know why my parents, for example, and my grandparents forced me to help them out, because I never wanted to say no, because in my Dutch front life, I was the one, the older I got more the role of the mother. So I took care of everything, the household, I took care of a certain cleanliness. I did some administration for this front dad. I did everything as best as I could. And it was a messy hoarding house. I never disclosed that really, but our house was, when I was a young teenager, besides my piano place, which I kept clean, I was growing up in a hoarder's house more and more, and it was everywhere stuff, clothings. The Dutch mom loved to sew again, behind a Singer sewing machine. Again, a trauma in the front life, which traumatized me with or without knowing me. And so when I, for example, when the man for checking the meter here in the Netherlands for the water pile or for the water bills, then they check per house at that time, and they came by and then they want to see how much water you used, for example, and then that was in a certain part of the house which were stuffed with piles of boxes of rubbish, and I had to pull that out when someone was coming from the government or who wanted to check that out, or electricity meter, and then I was the one who then try to cleanse it, or I never dare to invite friends because it was garbage. It was I never talked about it, but that was also part of my life. My life is one collection of only traumas, and I think I can truly say that I experienced almost every trauma what you can imagine. So if you want to find someone who experienced everything in life, I can truly say I did that. And not that I'm proud of it, but I'm proud of that I survived and can talk about it for every other survivor. But yeah, this experience and this trauma with digging up and remembering and the knowing, like even after the live stream this morning when I mentioned it in Dutch, this experience, like, so if I would now ask to dig there behind my former residence where I grew up when as a child in the Netherlands, there might be lying I know there were a lot of cats being buried as well, because the dad and the granddad killed in front of me also kittens and chickens and rabbits. So they were also put in a kind of tube, which was part of the garage. I know that there's a part where will be found a lot of skeletons of animals, but the latest relivings is as well of that there might be one and maybe more, I don't know, but at least one baby skeleton. And this is so, for me, like, this is it. This is, I have to go live. I have to talk about it. I have to express what I experienced. And despite that it's unbelievable and beyond gruesome, I simply, I have to do this. So this is why. And to have a small break for that, I will, one big poem says, your soul manifest connection with honesty being the slap in the face we all need. Well, that moves me, thank you. Besides that, I never want to have anyone to have a slap in the face, by the way. So, but thank you. Thank you for being here, Big Pond. Is there any way Will can murder the memories that keep you from growing? I pray every day to God. Literally every moment. I also cannot sleep, but that's for a while already, next to the low frequencies. I pray every day that even this morning, I was so speaking out loud here in the residence, like, please give me the key to all my memories, that I will have full access to all my memories, and that also concludes memories with Michael Jackson, because I have memories with him, and I know there is more. I know there is more, and I crave for having my full memories, as well as all the details with the black ops I had to force to be done in the programming. But I'm not sure if I will be able to, but I pray on daily basis for that, and I wish there was a way. I wish there was a way. I know there is a lot of, like, with the rapid eye movement, I think it's called, like, that you watch for a light to left and right. And I know there are a lot of good things for post-traumatic stress. But what in my experience, what I also experienced and found out is how important it is to, on all levels, because I'm also a healer and a reader. I had also in the Netherlands, before all the horrific past came to the surface, I also had a growing practice with meditations, and I was a healer and reader, and I had a pretty successful practice as well. Next to that, I was conductor and so on, and musician, and growing. And that stopped, and then also my practice for healing and reading. And I also did an education. I have a diploma for reading as well. So not that that's important, but I did many things in life. Now I lost my main thread of thoughts. Of course, I again wander off again. What was I talking about? Help me out in the chat. What was I talking about? I forgot. Oh, meine Güte. It will come back. And meanwhile, for all my social media, apparently, thanks to Barry, I know now that my BIO.LINK does work. BIO.LINK / Elizabeth Wallace. I think it's this one. But I hope you will share or if you know people who are open for this. And I would love to grow as a YouTube channel. And I know all the channels say it, and I understand them. Like, subscribe, because the algorithm, it's such a huge giant place, YouTube. And I ask you for your support, because when I reach 1,000 subscribers on YouTube specifically, then I can do many extras for you who support me, and then I can more in a private way do some more details about my deprogramming and my healing process, and so on and so on. So this is, I can do a lot more. And of course, from 1,000 subscribers, I am more being seen. That is very honest. But I don't want to beg all the time. So it's only one time in this live stream. And I honestly forgot my thread. But these traumas which I mentioned with these babies I had, which I know is a part of my heritage, which I came from 2 hidden bloodlines. One is an English monarchy, and the other one is from, I don't want to now say who that exactly is, but for 2 hidden bloodlines, and that was many people in the deep state wanted my oh, thank you, Nobby. So that doesn't exist. Okay, thank you so much. Delete. Then I will now do it the other way. Can you try this one? Yeah, I cannot go to it. I have my own security on my PC, and I think I put it on a too high firewall. So for my protection, maybe it's this one then. Let's try this. How is this one? Thank you for checking, Nobby. And yeah, I will head for maybe. Oh, that's the mail. That's part of the remains of the traumas and of my life. And I just I respond to noises, unexpected noises. So that was the mailman for some delivery. Same again. Okay, I also have the same. Doesn't exist. Yeah, I got the notification that it's not existing. So that it's being deleted for some unknown reasons. But thank you for checking out. Another idea is next to that I'm still in for maybe create a party in the Netherlands. I have to think about it if I will go through with that. But another idea is which I was passionate about in these flashbacks yesterday is that I know that many victims don't dare to mention their details of their horrific experiences. And I was thinking like, what if I will be that voice? So I want to throw in an idea. Next to that, I will do a physical lecture here in the Netherlands. I wish I could go to America because I would love to go there, or to England and do there a physical lecture. I long for setting my foot on my feet, both my feet in the here and now on American soil. I somehow always feel attached to that country, and also to England, but also to America, and that stays, that is in me somehow. But next to that, a physical lecture, what I try to set up here and organize is that I want to be a voice for the unknown and for the people who don't dare to speak out, and in a safe way and without mentioning names, which I am not someone who likes to mention names. I do want to have that world leaders are being honest, and that there will be a new generation of leadership for each country, uniquely leading their own country with their own religions when it is in respectful and righteous, honest, transparent way, and that the people always can control that and also can say no to the leader. But all these principles, I stand for that. I notice that I'm getting tired, but I truly am passionate about doing something with my life. Now I am still vital. Now I'm still physically fit, healthy, mentally healthy. I wanna do something physically, not only just do live streams and trying to get my truth out, and that even if some mainstream media would pick up, and I would honestly want to be proven who I say I am. I mean, would not some mainstream media would love to jump into that? I mean, wouldn't that be an incredible storyline? Or gossip? Yeah, I'm against gossip, you know that, but you know what I mean. And so that idea is that people can message me. I will not say my email publicly, but for example, you can join me on Telegram or message me through Facebook Messenger, and then ask me for my email address, and then send me your horrific traumas. And of course, I really like to have it as short as possible, and for a maximum of words. And then I will read out loud in a special live stream. I will plan that in end of year or the spring 2026. It depends on how much time I need. and that people then can write me their story, and I will not mention any names. And I do mention exceptions like Joseph Mengele, but he has already passed for a very long time. But pure that the traumas are being read out loud, I think that could be powerful for healing, for sure. But that people start to realize, oh, this woman or this man from Germany has this story, and I can read and talk German. So if you want to write it in German, I can fully speak it in German as well. But that people then think like, wow, these people from there, these people from that country, wow, that people from that country has the same story, wow, and that maybe can have some impact in how true this is. Because this is why the elite, the deep state elite, who still are involved, can still put mkultras and trigger programming, because of that it is not being believed, not by the majority of people. And I think that can really do a change in the world. I am so incredibly inspired by this. And hello, D3S1 Ray. Thank you for joining. Is this it? Oh, can you put it through a whisper? Because Twitch is not allowing any links. So if you can do it on whisper on Twitch, welcome on Twitch, then you can. Then I can see the link and then I can check. But thank you for checking, and thank you for mentioning your name. Welcome, Desiree. Welcome here. Yeah, dear people, I think I am heading for a closure. I think I mentioned now the basic graphic detail. I have another experience with my own, babies, fetuses, but I am now a bit lightheaded in my head, so I think I should now quit the live stream and go for my rest and relaxation. Yeah, maybe there are questions, and Nobby says piano breaks would be great. Oh, piano, yeah. Yeah, I still resistance to playing the piano. And I did see come by your comment, Joke, but I was too much in the talk and not leaving my thread. Or name it Say No to Evil. I did see it. Yeah, that would be a great, awesome name for a party. And I don't mean the party for celebration, but it's called partij in the Netherlands, government partij, to be that I might have an influence in finally steering this government into a direction which could be leading to healthy choices. And for the people's choices and truth. And I know from within how it works. And they won't be able to buy me. But I also am very realistic. That is also why I probably would not make it. So, who knows? I threw it into the air of the YouTube world and the Twitch world and the Rumble. Tomorrow is, by the way, my Rumble channel is growing. And you see there my former name, Monique Wallace, but it's a very alive channel. And I feel Rumble is the most honest, I feel, with allowing, I think that they're the most honest with showing the subscribers. Because on YouTube, I'm hardly growing, and it's not to complain, but I wish the YouTube world would grow for me as well. But yeah, it's the way it is, and I accept it as well. So, dear people, when there are no questions in the chat, I can of course check on Facebook. I'm also tired, I'm honest in that, but I try to see if there are comments which I missed. And on my live stream, like Prism, I cannot just, it's too distracting for me to check all these chats and so on. Let me see if there are comments. Joke says, take your time, rest and have a nice weekend, Elizabeth. Yes, thank you, Joke. Nobby, thank you for your comments. En ja, en again, thank you also on Facebook. Dankjewel, lieve allemaal, voor de nieuwe volgers. Dankjewel. Ik weet niet waar ze ineens allemaal vandaan komen, maar dankjewel. And thank you all for following me there. And for your friends request. And I try to honor, I try to go through them. And I decided to honor more friends requests. I'm now less fearful of accepting friends requests. Marianne, hi Marianne. Elizabeth, ik kan niet naar je BIO.LINK, daar ben ik van geblokt. Tijd geleden volgde ik veel vaker om te kijken, dus alleen Facebook doet het. So, yeah, Marianne also said, thank you Marianne, that BIO.LINK, I am being chased off BIO.LINK. So then, dear people, find me on Linktree, which is, has no views at all. I checked it this morning, but yeah, I will put it later on. I'm tired. I need to go for my rest. Let me check also info. Thank you, info delen en video nieuws van Barry Henderson. Follow also his channels. Yeah, I like it like Extinction Rebellion. If you like to see other demonstrations as well, what is going on in the Netherlands, but also worldwide happenings like political stuff, I think he's awesome. I still recall when I was bumped into his live stream spontaneously, which unfolded all these live streams and me getting over the fears of publicly speaking about who I am, to speak my voice, that I still recall that I heard one of his live streams, the first live stream, and I felt like, this must be a mainstream speaker. I mean, not the mainstream has a lot of disadvantages. You know that, people who know what I mean, with the non-dependent news and very much influenced news. But I really felt like, wow, he should be on the mainstream media. So I'm really grateful for that. Yeah, it is live there. Thank you, dear everyone over there. Yeah, I can only say I hope, I love to see your comments. If you liked a live stream like this, and then also push that like button. Yeah, I feel awful in again mentioning it. You help me a lot with it to become more visible on YouTube. And but for sure, comment or give your feedback. Or should I stop with showing, or at least telling about the gruesome details? Yeah, I try to go live as soon as I can. I will update you about this plan and ideas. So, dear people, if you like to share your story, in short, you can even use your alias, a name, other name. I will honor your privacy. Then write down, if you like, to share your horrific traumas, what has been done to you, in not too long of a story. And then I will fully dedicate myself to publicizing it in a special live stream, and I will do all the efforts to publicize it. I will think over things to promote, and maybe some people likes to contribute or have ideas as well. I think it would be an incredible impact, an healing impact, that all these testimonies, the true testimonies of the horrific traumas from SRA and SA and mkultra victims, survivors, what would they do if there would be one giant roll off from stories from you, one after the other, from this country, then from that country, from Mexico, from France, from Belgium, from doesn't matter. So you can reach me on Messenger on Facebook, and then I will give you my email address. All right? And I'm on Telegram, by the way. I have also a specific English Telegram group. I can put that in the chat because that one works. Let me see. Group info. Copy link. Yeah, and I know there is a risk to it that I publicly share the Telegram group, but there is moderation, so only respectful people allowed and honest, true people. So I trust on God that He will protect me in that too. So dear people, bless you all. I love you all. And keep you updated if there's any news about the book coming or anything else. And also I like to support Pelin Ross Taylor from The Pulse today, where I did my interview in November last year. And yeah, I honor him for having me interviewed in the documentary, and let's see how everything will unfold. But yeah, I think the Pulse today is on YouTube as well, has awesome independent reporters and reporting honest, true people. So check him out if you like, support that channel. Okay, I'm tired. Dear people, I forgot to wave with my tulip, the Dutch signal, and I always keep it on my keyboard here. But dear peeps, thank you again. Love you all again. I repeat myself, but I do mean it. Bless you all, and see you next time. And I love to see your comments underneath this upload later on, how you are doing and your feedback and what you like to share. And message me if you like that idea with your story, and to give that idea a realization in the near future. Okay, I really am going now. Dear people, bye everyone. Ciao. Bye bye.